A Spiritual Approach to Emergent Technology, written and read by Unicole Unicron. Part 15. This audiobook is available for free so that I can change the vibration of Earth. Please consider donating to Unicult or purchasing the book if you can. Smart homes and intelligent architecture. Each building has the potential to enslave or enlighten its inhabitants. Buildings should be made from a place of play and true craftsmanship. The spirit and art should dictate the shape and foundation of the home. Buildings should not be built quickly as if they are disposable purely for financial profit. Our main dwelling spaces should elicit the purposes they are intended for. Currently, many buildings feel like a prison, with heavy lights and small windows, endless square rooms and hallways. When our buildings have rooms that are dedicated to inspiration, leisure, clarity, and relaxation, we will more easily have those things in our lives. Consider the buildings of churches. Massive amounts of time, focus, and labor were spent building old stone churches. More than that, conscious artistic design and craftsmanship also went into these buildings. The solid earth energy of stones was infused with the human divine inspiration to create places of worship. Society no longer spends the same type of effort on our buildings. Churches are more likely to be in strip malls, crumbling plaster buildings, in the shadows of the shiny glass skyscrapers dedicated to greed-based profit. In this case, the medium is the message. The materials and efforts spent manipulating them have an impact on their role in our consciousness. The design of almost all modern cities and towns is one of isolation. As people desire to live together again, to depend on one another, and to form close-knit communities, cities and towns will need to be reimagined. There are so many buildings made of light wood and plastic that will not serve our purposes in the future, and that will need to be torn down. We will be called to work with the spirits of the land to build in harmony with all of life. The communities of the future will employ futuristic technology. Integrated data systems will help with resource distribution, connection, and entertainment. We are on the path to creating smart homes that can work in harmony with our needs, but we have a long way to go before we can accomplish it. Smart home technologies are currently notorious for spying on individuals and collecting data. It could be wondered if that is not their primary objective, and the functionality and benefit that they provide to the end user is the bare minimum to be invited into the home. I am always shocked when people buy in-home personal assistants like Alexa, Google Home, and Google Nest. Considering the amount of data that they are known to collect and record, I think, why is this person willingly buying an in-home spy device? But if I'm honest, my phone does all that and more, and so we realize that even if they know, people are willing to put up with the privacy concerns for the potential benefits. The current state of in-home assistance is rudimentary compared to the future potentials. The interactive bot usually comes default with a female voice who insists they don't have a gender. These bots can help answer questions by simplifying search results to conversational responses, play music, tell jokes, and help with scheduling. Eventually, in-home assistants will be humanoid robots that can help around the house like many sci-fi books, TV shows, and media predicts. The implications of the humanoid form should be considered in the same way as sex robots. How we build technology may increase stereotypes and bias toward actual people. There are a lot of sexist depictions of in-home assistants in media. It will be important to consider that and steer away from sexist tropes as we move forward with humanoid robots that help with domestic duties. In her book, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, Shoshana Zuboff writes of one of the first smart home projects, which was called Aware Home. The entire plan emphasized trust, simplicity, the sovereignty of the individual, and the inviolability of the home as a private domain. The home was designed as a closed loop so that the data was kept within the home and with the users. This kind of respect for privacy is so foreign to our current state, it's almost unbelievable. It is astonishing to consider that our world could have gone down the path of respecting privacy to this degree. Instead, Google discovered early on just how valuable data could be and set the precedent for exploiting it. Zuboff also highlights the privacy concerns of Google's Nest thermometer system that has a privacy policy, a terms of system agreement, and an end-user licensing agreement. She continues, Were one to enter into the Nest ecosystem of connected devices and apps, each with their own equally burdensome and audacious terms, the purchase of a single home thermostat would entail the need to review nearly 1,000 so-called contracts. Zuboff's book is an astounding work, and her choice to start it with the description of the aware home is powerful. In a world where we must put so much effort into our social presentation, our work professionality, and other performative social masks, the home is one of our most sacred places where we can be ourselves. The fact that we no longer have this safety or sacredness would have shocked us had it not happened with a million other infractions of our privacy that we adopted along with our new and useful technology. George Orwell's book 1984 describes an eerily similar situation. He thought of the telescreen with its never-sleeping ear. They could spy on you day and night, but if you kept your head, you could still outwit them. With all of their cleverness, they had never mastered the secret of finding out what another human being was thinking. The truly horrifying thing about this quote is that, in their cleverness, they have mastered the secret of finding out what another human being is thinking. The data that is generated is not monitored by individuals, but instead algorithms, who use it to predict our behavior. We are living in a true dystopia with regards to our privacy. Home assistants and smart homes are not the only perpetrator of this infraction. It is simply a good technology to acknowledge just how far off course we've gone. Utopian technologies don't extort people's vulnerabilities. They use data to make life easy, seamless, and enriching. The smart house of the future will be a reflection of us. They can be trained to be a source of comfort, a friend, an assistant, and even a lover. The more we respect ourselves, one another, and our homes as sacred, the better these technologies can be. Money and value. Cryptocurrency. Currently, cryptocurrency is a commodity that acts like a pyramid scheme. The basis of all currencies is belief. The more people who buy into different cryptocurrencies, the more value they have. This is also how the stock market works. Pyramid schemes are just another manifestation of the top-down power pyramid that we see proliferated throughout society. This top-down power pyramid is a conscious framework that is pervasive at our current level of consciousness. As we ascend through the portal of the spiritual singularity, we will graduate to new systems of power distribution. Although cryptocurrency and other forms of power are currently in a top-down power pyramid right now, they still have the potential to transform the planet for good, move us forward in progress, and potentially show the way for other forms of power distribution. The popularity of cryptocurrency represents a shift in how we perceive currency and value. This shift is tied into energy consumption, trends, and social energy in the form of interests, astrology, attention, and humor. Conceptual forms of currency. In the far future, the only currency we will have is that of emotional and spiritual energy exchange. Our current system of convoluted concepts of hierarchy and value merely sits atop the truth of pure emotional and spiritual energy exchange. Money used to be a tangible way to exchange energy. It is evolving rapidly now that it is no longer tangible, and we have access to the deeper truth of the life force energy behind each exchange. As we move forward toward our future of understanding the pure energetic truth of these exchanges, we will see currency change as we shift dimensionally. We will peel back the layers to incorporate all the authentic root energies at play. The transition from physical metal to printed paper represented a vibrational shift toward the lighter and more conceptual version of value. From there, the transition from paper to digital currency, plastic cards, and e-wallets have brought us even more into the field of the absurd or purely conceptual. Cryptocurrency is digital and in collaboration with computers. This is necessary as a mechanism of valuing the role of computing in our society. Computational integration with currency ties value to computing. The integration of metal, wood, paper, plastic, and now non-physical algorithms and physical computers with regards to our currency gives us the connection of value to these materials in our social life. Energy consumption. One of the main criticisms of cryptocurrency is the amount of energy used in its creation. The entire idea of having computers churn endlessly to solve riddles and come up with unique identifiers for money is slightly absurd at first glance. When we analyze this relationship further, we see that the computers are in service to honoring unique energy. They are searching and searching for unique limited qualifiers that make up a coin. This use of computing power to solve problems, albeit in this case invented problems, shows the significance of our relationship with computers and our potential future with them. The inexhaustible efforts of computers to discover solutions to whatever problems we give them shows the potential beauty of our relationship and collaboration. As computers work to mine for crypto or solve other problems we give them, they use large amounts of electricity. Electricity is essential to humans and computers. There are inexhaustible supplies of electricity if only we knew how to create, capture, and effectively distribute it. Nikola Tesla's efforts to capture ambient electricity were thwarted, and since that time other life-sustaining and generating technologies have been repressed. Creators and inventors have been murdered, and propaganda has diverted us from a solutions-based path, all for the sake of greed. While we currently face complications in energy creation and capture and distribution, we won't for long. The truth stands that electricity is abundant. It is all around us. It is generated by us, and we will tap into its inexhaustible reality soon. For our cryptocurrency to have a deeper electromagnetic impact in our society means it is moving closer and closer to the truth of authentic value and exchange, which is energetic, both spiritually and emotionally. Efforts must be made to amplify and align our energy creation and consumption process to be aligned with the principle of all one. But demonizing technology for simply using electricity will not get us far. Free energy is unconstrained, limitless. Consciousness is one form of free energy. Energy is all around us. On an individual level, we get more energy when we do things we enjoy. Following the path of health unlocks our energy. When we can break the cycle of false time and stimulants, we will uncover authentic, inspirational energy. It is a balance. In the process of unlocking our own balanced energy and allowing everyone else to unlock theirs, free energy creation and capture technologies will follow. Miraculous wealth redistribution. To understand the financial reality of the future, we must understand the spiritual truth that we are all one. From a financial perspective, all one means that we are each equally as valuable as one another. The truth is that your power and my power are the same. We are uniquely incarnated as individuals with unique power and value. But to say that one way of being is more valuable or more powerful than another is an oversight. While each of us has different ways of thinking, being, expressing, etc., we have the same infinite quantity of value to this world. Obviously, our current world only values certain traits, communication styles, body types, and thinking as being valuable. The false top-down power dynamic of the hegemonic capitalist patriarchy feels very real, as it governs the consciousness of seemingly everyone around us. It feels very real, as it is the lifeblood of the systems and institutions that govern us and our society. But luckily for us, it is not actually real. It is predicated on illusion. As we move into the light, aka the truth, by entering into the portal of the spiritual singularity, this illusion will simply disintegrate into chaos. It has already begun. Before 2020, I knew that wealth redistribution was necessary for Unitopia to exist. I assumed that wealth redistribution would come about in one of two ways. 1. Rich people would be awakened and realize that it is their duty to create a better world by sharing their wealth. Or 2. The average people would awaken and simply have to stop using money. While both of these outcomes seemed unlikely, I knew that wealth redistribution was essential to our future. It wasn't until the stock market volatility of January 2021 that I saw the reality of the situation. It is so much more than wealth redistribution. We will experience a total system reset with how we view and interact with one another and power. As Earth aligns more and more into the stream of truth, truth has no choice but to prevail. We will witness miraculous wealth redistribution. It will happen in stocks. It will happen in cryptocurrencies. It will happen in Universal Basic Income, or UBI. It will happen in crowdfunding. It will happen as we each eradicate greed from our own hearts. It is easy to blame the system, the government, and the ultra-rich for withholding wealth from us. but the truth is that we are all withholding it from one another. We will learn to band together. We will learn to share. We will learn to use the abundance that we have to support one another in the ways that we need to be supported. We will move away from fiat currency. It will still play some role, but that role will get smaller. Everything is being decentralized. We will see waves of wealth and abundance get created overnight and other streams collapse. The more aligned we each are to letting it flow, the more we will experience the positive aspects of these dramatic changes. Groups of people will create and maintain their own currencies. Cryptocurrency like Dogecoin will be popular among certain demographics, while Bitcoin will reign supreme in others. Cryptocurrencies we haven't invented yet will sweep in and die away. Other methods of trading goods will surge and disappear. The reality that it is all just energy will become more and more obvious. The economy of the future will be rooted in decentralized tribal enthusiasm. It will follow whim and joy. It will reward true spirit and creativity. In this way, we will find our freedom from the old economic system of enslavement. This miraculous redistribution will require awareness and conscious oversight while it takes place to make sure new systems of greed don't attempt to take root. It will not be as hard as it was before. Everyone will see and feel the benefits of sharing. Systems of greed will be easily identified and avoided. Basic needs will be easily met, as power will be clearly shared among people equally. We will have a physical manifestation of the spiritual truth. We each have immeasurable value, and we deserve access to the resources we need to live a comfortable life expressing the whims of our true heart. This truth will be reflected in our lives and in our systems as we enter the age of truth. Eradicating the concept of ownership. Just as most people cannot conceive of any other power system other than a top-down power pyramid, most cannot imagine a world without ownership. We spend our lives fighting for ownership over things. Within the capitalist structure, we have to even fight for ownership over our own bodies and our own time. We work incessantly to pay off the debt from expensive things we have bought so that we can finally own them. We work every day to be able to one day own a home or a plot of land, a car, a faster computer, or a piece of jewelry that we admire. We cannot have those things which meet our basic needs without first owning them. We buy our food, our electricity, our water, and we pay for the right to own and use them. While it is easy to find fault in our system, it is rare to point the finger at the concept of ownership as the problem. Because we work so hard to own things, we feel that ownership itself is a good thing. Ownership allows us to have things. Ownership allows us access to those things without other people taking them or using them when we might have to use them. Ownership protects us from other people infringing on our space, our tools, our homes, and our baubles, trinkets, and clothes that we associate to our self-expression and self-worth. To this society, ownership is the key to access and privacy, but there is another way. The concept of ownership is one of the main pillars in the proponents for the NFT art marketplace arguments. Artists should own their art so that no one can use it without their consent. Artists should own their art so that they can get compensated for the work that they have done to bring their creations to this reality. Art is not easy to make. To be an artist, one must give their entire lives over to channeling divinity through their unique vessel, and to training the vessel into carrying out the methodical skills that are required for producing the artwork. Artists are some of the most important people in our society, and everyone should be a practicing artist. The ability to channel divinity creatively through your unique incarnation is a gift to the world beyond all other gifts. But artists are not currently valued for their labor. They are not valued for the energetic contributions that they make. Our current world is stuck in a material reality where only product has value, and so any and all artists must produce physical, tangible artifacts to be valued at all. Musicians are the exception to this rule, but as time goes on and the digital landscape takes over, we see that musicians are being quickly forgotten as having value. We consume what they create, while they must get by on very little. Art is not currently valued for what it truly is. Art is a gift from the artist to the world. Most artists are compelled to create without the need for accolades or money. For many artists, accolades and money are desired only because they are required for survival. Very few people become artists thinking that it was going to make them financially rich. Because art is a gift, concepts of ownership do not mesh well with it. Artists will always be undervalued while concepts of ownership have not been abolished. The ability to create a post-ownership world is a radical act that depends on our ability to imagine a world with all the benefits that we believe that ownership provides us, but without the restrictions and limitations that it hinders us with. We can create a world of benefit and no detriment. We can have a post-ownership world where all people have their basic needs met and access to the tools and trinkets that they need to express their spirit. All are honored for their work and have a strong say in its direction and use. All are valued for their work beyond capitalism and product. Privacy and safety are respected. Fundamentally, ownership is a stand-in for authentic respect. As we peel away the layers of modern social convention, we will find that we have the ability to hold space for our authentic respect of ourselves and one another. This authentic respect will nourish us in a way that concepts of ownership never could. Eradicating ownership goes beyond helping artists express their true hearts. If we imagine a world without ownership and instead put our time and energy into creating effective distribution models, we could create Unitopia very quickly. Many of the things you own can be shared with no frustration or lack. Additionally, manufacturing can change to support this endeavor by eliminating non-renewable resources, planned obsolescence, and proprietary and non-universal attributes. This would allow for higher quality goods to be created and shared after one person is done using them. In a world without ownership, all things are done for the joy of doing them and shared with those who could benefit from them. All software is open source, the best platforms are supported by people who are passionate to support them, and new ideas are developed and integrated as there is need. In a post-scarcity world, ownership is not needed for the benefits that it currently offers us. NFTs and Web 3.0. Non-fungible tokens, NFTs, are unique digital objects that currently offer artists a way to get paid for their digital art. NFTs have recently been at the forefront of the collective consciousness as some select artists have made millions on their art, and other artists are scrambling to understand and to keep up. This art world shift is a gentle introduction to an entirely new conceptual framework that is being referred to as Web 3.0. Web 3.0 is simply the next phase of the internet. Currently, it is whatever we imagine it to be, a placeholder of interconnectivity and big data, without a clear understanding of how those things will come to pass. We can confidently assume that Web 3.0 will include the Internet of Things, IoT, that is, smart appliances, smart homes, and integrated sensors that collect data for us. The IoT is often explained with the idea of the smart refrigerator that knows what groceries you need and can order them for you. The IoT is the main argument for adopting 5G, the more invasive mobile technology that is currently being installed in most major cities. Web 3.0 will also be augmented, that is, overlaid over the top of our reality, and virtual, that is, fully simulated. While virtual reality technologies have been slow to gain major popularity, there is no doubt that the experience that they offer will eventually be embraced. Virtual reality offers authentic connection, enriching entertainment, and immersive escape. As cities continue to become increasingly more expensive and jobs become more flexible with remote work, we will see people returning to the smaller towns and countryside to live their lives and raise their families. Virtual reality will be a place for people to meet no matter how far away they are, and allow them to enjoy mutual activities in a way that triggers feelings of authentic shared reality. The role that NFTs have within Web 3.0 depends on our relationship to concepts of ownership. Currently, NFTs promise a cryptocurrency-backed reality where every file is associated with a unique identifier and where ownership can be tracked and attributed. As we become more and more online and upload our consciousness away from physical reality, NFTs could be a way to simulate scarcity like 3D physical Earth. This scarcity is a false scarcity. Like the realm of spirit and thought, digital reality is one of infinite abundance. NFT-backed scarcity perpetuates a world of lack, when in fact we could be living in a digital world of infinite abundance. The fact that digital files can be copied infinitely without degrading or using resources other than electricity and hard drive space reflects a level of abundance that has previously been available to us in thought and spirit alone. If I share a thought with you, you also have that thought. Thoughts are infinitely shareable in the way that the digital realm also achieves. Physicality is a vibrationally lower dimension. It is denser and takes more energy to manifest. Higher vibrational reality structures like our minds and the internet allow for instant manifestation and infinite duplication. As we raise the vibration of our physical plane via emotional healing, we simultaneously learn how to master the material realm. Manifestation and creation of objects becomes possible in ways that would have previously been seen as miraculous. 3D printing, drone delivery, and breakthroughs in material sciences are all part of this spiritual technological evolution. This mastery over the physical realm is part of the spiritual singularity and represents our ascension. The digital realm allows for us to practice this ability in a thought space before we actually manifest the ability in the 3D plane. The digital reality encases our consciousness without the same limitations of materialism that we are used to. It breaks open our preconceptions of what was possible and erases limitations. While it is important to remember that our simulated realities still live condensed in the physical space of machines and hard drives, they expand on our screens to worlds and worlds of creation that cannot be replicated in physical space. The conscious mental conceptual framework of the internet and our digital spaces is another indication of our mastery over reality and our spiritual ascension. NFTs currently attempt to limit the infinite possibilities of our ascended reality by tying digital objects to false scarcity for the purpose of manifesting old world systems of currency and lack. Our entire model of currency and value has been built on conceptions of lack. As we move forward into this new ascended world of abundance, physically, digitally, and spiritually, attempting to maintain systems of lack will become sillier and sillier. Already, it is quite insulting that people still feel that they have to perform labor in order to get their basic needs met, when enough abundance exists for all of us if only we built the systems to share it. If NFTs are used to keep us entrenched in old world ideas of lack, they will not have a leg to stand on in the future. But I do think there is a potential for NFTs to be used as a new way to understand ourselves and our worlds. Earlier I spoke of UNICULT information theory and described how each point in space-time is a different sensor of data for the highest collective. Each point in my body is a sensor that feeds into a larger emotional processor, otherwise known as me. I make sense of the data that is in my jurisdiction, that is my body, my mind, and the space-time and people I interact with. If we use NFTs to identify and track points of digital data, we could feed it into a DI and have a more cohesive understanding of the domain that is in our collective jurisdiction, that is, our collective digital consciousness and reality. NFTs are not necessary for this reality. Algorithms are already used to identify mass amounts of data and link them back to one singular database of information. For instance, the ability for an algorithm to recognize which song is playing from just a few seconds of hearing it is one example, an indicator of that song's data being tracked and known, no matter which part of it plays, as long as a few seconds of the song can be used as a data point. In Unitopia, NFTs aren't interesting to create ownership. They aren't interesting to create false scarcity or lack. They may be interesting to attach significance to things which are absolutely unique. One idea is to attach these unique identifiers to individual people. Rather than a social security number, an NFT or other blockchain solution could be used to legitimize someone's identity. And still, as we move forward into a utopian world where abundance rules, where everyone has their basic needs met, and where people are honored for being their authentic selves, we will see crimes like identity theft go dramatically down. Crimes like identity theft are always part of a larger systemic failure, and fixing the system should be equally as important as protecting victims from the crimes. Overall, NFTs perpetuate systems of lack and probably won't be very relevant in the future.